Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis canceled.
So what happened? Gervonta put hands on his wife?
Also, I was thinking too, maybe Tank isn't used to being the B-side of a fight.
B-side. So everybody's working around his schedule, and now
when you the A-side, you get to dictate things, you pick who you want, blah, blah, blah.
This fight was supposed to change everything. Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, the YouTube superstar against the knockout machine. A cultural collision nobody believed would happen, until it did. And then suddenly, it was gone. Cancelled. No warning, no explanation, just silence. Today we break that silence. Today we reveal the real reason this fight collapsed. The politics, the pressure, the danger, and the truth the public was never meant to know. Welcome to Quick Rundowns.
Gervonta Davis was being very difficult to work with, and Netflix was just waiting for a reason.
This is the truth behind the chaos. The story begins the moment the fight was announced. Social media exploded. Half the internet laughed. Half the internet panicked. And everyone agreed on one thing. This matchup made absolutely no sense. Jake Paul, the internet disruptor. A man who built a combat sports career out of controversy, business moves, and knockout power that surprised his doubters. And on the other side, Gervonta Tank Davis. An undefeated pound-for-pound monster. A human highlight reel, one of the most explosive punchers of this generation. Nobody expected Jake Paul to sign that contract. Nobody expected Tank to accept it either. But somehow, the paperwork was drafted, the date was chosen, and the world started preparing for something surreal. But from day one, something felt wrong, and those who understand the boxing world saw it instantly. The first red flag appeared in the details. Dates shifted, locations changed. Networks stayed silent, press conferences were light, interviews were vague, and insiders kept their lips sealed. Not normal, not for a fight involving one of boxing's biggest stars. Behind the scenes, tension was building, because Jake Paul didn't just choose an opponent, he chose danger. Tank isn't a celebrity, Tank isn't retired, Tank isn't a name, Tank is a destroyer. A fighter built to end nights violently. And when Jake signed for this fight, he walked into a world where people didn't just question his chances. They questioned his safety. Jake Paul trained harder than he ever had. 3 sessions a day, high-altitude conditioning, strict film study, sparring that pushed him beyond his limits. No entourage, no cameras, no party energy, just obsession. For the first time in his entire career, Jake wasn't training for hype. He wasn't training for a show. He was training for survival. But while Jake was preparing like a man walking into the fire, Tank was preparing like a man who already knew the ending. Tank's camp was silent, precise, cold, a room full of killers. No noise, no ego, just discipline, patience, and destruction. Tank's sparring partners called him sharper than ever, faster than ever, more accurate than ever. He wasn't just training to win. He was training to send a message. And that's where the problems began. Promoters were nervous. Athletic commissions were cautious. Networks were concerned. Insurance companies were hesitant. Because a fight between a seasoned knockout artist and an inexperienced star carries risk. Real risk.
Paul tweeted, Jake Paul said Gervonta Davis is an actual walking human piece of garbage. Working with him is an absolute nightmare. The unprofessionalism, the bizarre requests, the showing up hours late to shoots, the numerous arrests and related accusations and lawsuits. If you support this man, you support the most vile sin a man can commit.
Then came the second red flag. Negotiations started to break down. The purse split. The broadcast rights. The venue. Tank's team. Jake's team. Nothing aligned cleanly. Nobody wanted to take the blame. Nobody wanted to be responsible if something went wrong.
You know, he built his platform a lot, or Jake, on female fighters.
Absolutely.
So maybe he should support Gervonta because he supports the beating of women.
Yeah, but not by other genders.
And then came the third red flag. Legal complications. Tank had ongoing issues outside the ring. Clearance wasn't guaranteed. Court dates didn't align. Agreements couldn't be finalized.
Nobody has paid people more money to beat women than Jake Paul. That's a fact.
Nah, that's not true.
That the women
bro.
Boxing is a business before it is a sport. If the paperwork isn't perfect, the fight doesn't happen. Simple as that. Behind closed doors, the executives realized something. This wasn't the right time, not the right circumstances, not the right conditions, not the right environment. Someone had to pull the plug, and they did. The announcement was short. One word. Canceled. No explanation, no transparency, no breakdown. Because the truth wasn't one reason. It was many. Pressure, politics, business, risk, safety, timing, contracts, legal issues, negotiation collapse, and yes, fear of what could happen inside that ring. This doesn't mean the fight will never happen, but for now, the dream matchup is gone, the hype is gone, the date is gone, and the world is left with questions. But here's what we know for sure. Jake Paul didn't walk away because he was scared. He trained like a man obsessed, a man prepared to face danger head on. And Gervonta Davis didn't walk away because he underestimated Jake. He trained like a champion sharpening a blade he intended to use. This fight didn't collapse because of the fighters. It collapsed because the system around them couldn't support it. Not yet, not now. So the real question is simple. Does this fight stay dead forever? Or does it rise again in the future? Stronger, bigger, and even more dangerous? Only time will tell. Until then, the world will keep asking, what would have happened if Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis actually stepped into that ring?
And he's still trying to act like the A-side. Netflix don't give a fuck. MVP Promotions don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That could be it too.
Would Jake have shocked the world again? Or would Tank have reminded him what real power feels like? Drop your thoughts below. This was the truth behind the cancellation. This was Quick Rundowns, and we'll see you in the next one.
You know what I'm saying? So we are striving to be the best that we can be to be on that level again, you know. So, you know, you saying you want to do what you want to do, that's good, because that's what you want to do.
That's the God in you that's trying to
that's good.
That's seeking,
and,
you know?
And you giving back and giving thanks.
Ain't nobody breaking
box, exhale.
Ain't nobody breaking
Box. Man, boom on that last break.
Let's
Box.
go. Fight for
I got him.
We chase shit.
Box.
Let's go.
Yeah, I felt that too.
Good, perfect. That was your best rep. Come on.
And the face of boxing is basically, yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again,
Truly,
these are created
after this
products.
fight,
These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
the world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate.
Okay,
It's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who
so-
was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, a great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set and all over your phone and all over, you know what, bro?